What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I am your host and captain, Garrett Morlang, and here in the studio with me is the one and only nerd dad, Zech Keenan.
Heyo! I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about Xbox. Talking about a lot of Xbox news today. I drink a Bang Energy. Can you tell I drink a Bang Energy?
Yeah,
I got a lot of energy.
Up. Are you sure you didn't drink Amp? Remember Amp? Is that still an energy drink?
I think it still is. It's basically like Super Mountain Dew.
Yeah, isn't it the Mountain Dew one?
Yeah, it was like Mountain Dew with like quadrupled caffeine.
Which is absurd because Mountain Dew is a straight caffeine and sugar anyways.
Pretty much.
Also joining us here in the virtual studio is the official voice of wrestling, JJ Purdom.
What's up, gentlemen? I have not drank a Bang energy drink nor an Amp, and technically since 1997 I am not legally allowed to drink Redline, which was another crazy energy drink.
I remember Redline.
I'm not actually technically legally allowed to talk about it even. There was an incident involving two Red Lines, a Taco Bell, and a homeless man. So, but we won't talk about it on the show. It's good to see you guys.
You too, man.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. I'm ready to talk video games.
Woo!
Right?
Woo!
I'm just jacked up right now.
Oh boy, getting rowdy up in here.
It is getting rowdy up in here.
Rowdy up in here.
Well, let's get ready. No, you know what? I can't actually say that.
No.
Technically, that is a trademark statement from Michael Buffer, the vaunted voice of boxing. You can never say, "Let's get ready to rumble."
Let's get ready to shake things up.
and his brother Bruce Buffer is, of course, the voice of the UFC, and came up with a different tagline. It's time. Oh, I don't think he has a legal thing where you can't say his
time. I love UFC.
Hey guys,
I need to watch more UFC.
My wife texted me and said that the kids are sleeping down the hall, so I can't yell anymore.
No more yelling. Oops.
Okay.
Hashtag dad life.
Hashtag dad life. Dad life or dead life? I mean,
dad.
A little bit of both.
Okay, a little bit of both. Okay.
Man. Your wife is so nice because I don't get those texts. I get texts that say a whole lot of different things, and there's a lot of emojis involved. So when I'm being told to shut up, there's a bunch of smiley faces. There's smiley faces.
A lot more expletives and things that would need to be censored out.
No. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Oh man. Boy,
Garrett, can you edit that out? Because I'll probably hear about that later. If you could just edit, just cut.
No, I already told you. I told you earlier.
Splice it out.
I told you earlier.
Splice it out right there.
Editing anything out because I need to get as much rest as possible.
Did you just tell me you're not going to edit anything out? So you're telling me that you basically just took my gloves off and you said, JJ, just feel free to do whatever you want. I'm not going to cut out any of your gold.
No.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that, Garrett. It's like you're begging for the thunder to come down on your head. No, I'll be good.
I'm really scared now. I'm legitimately scared.
I don't want to scare you because, Garrett, I know you have a second kid on the way. In fact, we're like, 3-4 days past due or whatever. Trudy's running around like a chicken with her head cut off and screaming and nesting and throwing stuff. And then we made suggestions, Zech and I, on things that you can do to help the baby come along. There's plenty. There's walking. You can walk. I've seen you do it at work. Spicy foods help. Sometimes if you have cayenne pepper, even black pepper, maybe a little bit of pico de gallo, that stuff helps.
Scary movies.
Very scary. If you're watching like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and the Friday the 13th, Scream, that stuff scares the baby out.
Have you watched any of the Conjuring movies?
They are so scary, I can't watch them alone.
Oh, man.
I've always wanted to.
I can't watch them alone. Oh my gosh, have her watch Conjuring. Look, you see how Zech and I put that together right now? We work together as a cohesive unit, as a cool team, because he's hopped up on Bang, and I'm not allowed to drink Red Line, but I kind of already have like a permanent Red Line thing going on. Garrett, and I'm not sure if you're fully aware. And again, you cannot edit me out, but are you aware that another great way for you to have a baby when you're pregnant and you're several days past due is to eat spicy food? I'm not sure if we told you that earlier,
Okay.
Again, if you cayenne pepper anything with a little bit of bite to Indian food. Lots of curry.
We had Thai food. We had Thai food and Chipotle over the weekend.
I can't think of any other means.
Yeah. You know what? Just popped into my head. Popped in my head. And I could be wrong. You might have to Google this. You might have sex. Sometimes if you just.
That's right.
You might put that. If you guys were to. Yeah. Hashtag
doing it.
Yeah. If you hashtag doing it. If you. It works.
You want me to post that on Twitter so everyone can know? Like, hey.
Yeah.
Hashtag doing it.
Yes,
baby.
Yes,
hashtag doing it.
Hashtag doing
yes,
it.
I do. As a matter of fact, I really do.
Okay.
Can we make a T-shirt with that?
Hashtag
Super Gamer Boys. Hashtag doing it.
Hashtag doing it. And if you have spicy food while having sex, while watching The Conjuring, baby will happen. You're welcome.
That's a little much.
You're welcome.
I don't know if I could handle that.
That's the way.
Neither can she, because the baby will just happen. And you'll call Zech and me, and you'll say, "Thank you guys. The Conjuring, the spicy food, and the mediocre sex all helped for us to have a baby."
I'll just yep.
Donated any of that out.
Make sure you write those down.
I'm gonna write all of those things down. I'm actually writing them right now into the show notes.
I don't see you writing them, and I have a copy of the show notes right here.
And I don't see your fingers moving on the keyboard either, Garrett. I feel like you're kind of being dishonest right now.
He's writing it. I see it. I can see him edit it in live.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Spicy.
Okay. Yes. Spicy Conjuring. You put The Conjuring down. It's a very scary movie.
Okay.
You know what else you should probably...
Annabelle. Have you watched the Annabelles?
Okay, Annabelle.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I would have a baby. If I watched that right now, I would have a baby. Okay, I would literally let a baby fall out of my crotch. I don't know that.
Dude, so The Conjuring 1 and 2 are seriously some of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my life. Then my dad and I watched the Annabelle movies. That cranked it up.
Yeah.
Like, holy
They're all
Moses.
in the same
they're all in the same universe,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Not the third Annabelle movie. The first first two. Annabelle and Annabelle Creation. But my goodness gracious. If any of our listeners out there are fans of good horror that's actually scary and not like violent, but like very good Hitchcock, dude, The Conjurings and the Annabelles, and the Curse of La Llorona.
The Conjuring is so good, so scary that legitimately I watched the movie alone the first time, and I'm going to tell you straight out, I'm now a 41-year-old man. This was only a couple of years ago that I watched The Conjuring. I watched it alone, and I had to stop the movie. I couldn't keep watching it in the dark by myself because it was scary.
It's so
because
terrifying.
Should I not have admitted that? So the thing was when she goes down to the basement and she's sitting on the. That's what messed me up. She's sitting there, and there's the hands right behind her.
Don't ruin it for me.
Hey, spoilers! Spoilers!
Oh my gosh. That freaked the crap out of me. Okay, did you see The Conjuring 2?
Yeah.
Did you see Conjuring 2?
Oh my gosh.
The scariest moment in all of film, and it doesn't matter how many times I watched this movie, okay, and I've watched it maybe 2-3 times now. Every time is when she's in that room in like her husband's office, right? And the shadow of the nun is creeping so painfully slow around that wall, and it's just moving and moving, and the music is getting at you, and it's working its way to the painting, and you're like, you know that nun's gonna come out of that painting. You know it. You feel it. Every bit of your bones and everything is like so taut with tension that you're just like, just get it over with already.
Oh man, I really need to see these now. Now I feel like I have to watch these.
They're super good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what better time than now?
Yeah, what better time than now when we can
Double
eat spicy food and do it and maybe have a baby.
You're not going to want to do it watching the movie. That's for sure. That's how you make sure a demon possesses your child.
Oh, yes, okay. Well, that we don't want that. JJ, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you. Like
separate instances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep them separate. Keep them separate. Alrighty. Well, how about we get into some housekeeping here?
Yeah, we're only like 20 minutes in.
No big deal. If you want to hear more talk about the Conjuring and Annabelle series, support us over at patreon.com/supergamerboys. Maybe if we get enough support, JJ and Zech can launch their own podcast series just about horror movies. That would be awesome.
I'm
down.
So here at the top of the show, we just want to give a shout out to our Patreon producer, Adrian Homeboy Holmes, and our Patreon sponsors, Bill Bird, Julie Bates, Dustin Long, Brent Fox, and Daniel James. Thank you all so much for supporting us at our Patreon producer and then sponsor levels. You guys are awesome. So very thankful for you. But we're going to talk later on in the show about what kind of cool things you can get for supporting us on patreon.com/supergamerboys.
Like shirts and cups and stickers. All of life's necessities.
And herpes.
Right. No. Nope.
That's false.
Oh.
Not included.
Wrong
It's
podcast.
very common.
Wrong-
It's very
wrong
common. Lots of people have it, guys. Just saying.
Not on this podcast.
If you
Right.
want to talk to us throughout the week about some other topics of discussion, you can join us over at supergamerboys.com/discord. I'm just doing my best to just bury anything that JJ is trying to say over there. Supergamerboys.com/discord, DISCORD. You can go to that link, join us over there, and we're there all throughout the week talking about here and there what we've been playing, what we've been watching, music we're listening to. Sometimes you get immediate reactions to different events going on in the gaming sphere or even in the world sphere. You never know what's going to happen over there. That's what's fun about it. So go join us over there. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool people in that Discord. Okay, I think it is now time for the Nudie Nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy news.
I don't like, Zech, that in the show notes you correct the spelling of news, so I'm fixing that.
I thought you were going to
corrected it.
leave it. I thought you were going to leave it at "I don't like Zech."
I don't
honestly
like
thought that-
Zech.
I don't like Zech. So
The truth comes
that's
out.
kind of. Should you have said that online? Because Zech and I are about to launch our own podcast, The Super Scary Boys, where we talk about nothing but horror movies and spicy food and doing it.
Super
that's
scared
gonna be
boys.
True. True.
So there, I fixed that. So it is now the Nerdy Nudes once again, despite Zech trying to thwart all of my my plans there.
Your blunderings.
My what?
Your blunders.
Blunders. I know. It's become a part of us now. I would love for it to go away, Zech, but it is part of us. It is in our DNA. Like
I will forever be against calling it Nerdy Nudes.
well,
it's your
that's,
podcast.
I guess we won't
I am
be allowed
too, Zech,
to host.
I am too.
No.
But like, you know what? Once he did it, and he's kind of kept it going, and I talked to him about it once, and I said, like, I really don't think that it represents who we are as host of this show.
I'm not nude.
And he said, like, I don't wear pants while we're, and I'm like, well, I mean, technically,
I'll prove it.
that's no, please. Ah!
Sorry.
Zech
Okay.
already had a dirty image of you doing it and eating spicy food and watching The Conjuring. He is a sensitive man, okay?
So first and only news story we have to talk about tonight. And it's a big one from last Thursday.
Biggin, that's a baseball term.
What is?
Biggin.
Biggin?
Biggin.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a baseball term. What's that biggin?
Nope.
He never
It's
played sports.
it's
Means
Don't
big
know.
leaguer.
It's an upstate New York term. How about that? Introducing the largest, most creatively diverse games lineup in console history, led by Halo Infinite. This is by Will Tuttle over at Xbox Wire. I feel like that title is a little self-indulgent, seeing as it's written on their own blog. But this comes from Xbox
Yeah.
Wire. There was, in
It's called
fact,
good PR.
there was, in fact, the Xbox Games Showcase last Thursday where they showed off. Oh boy, I haven't found right here. 10 world premieres, 22 games being built to launch exclusively on Xbox consoles, projects from 9 of our 15 Xbox game studios and several of our partners. So that's a lot of games. What that adds up to? A lot of games. There's a lot of games shown. And
Way
it
more than
was
PlayStation's.
a lot more than PlayStation's. Yes, you're correct there. Yeah, by a long shot. There's so much.
By a
here.
long shot, but was the quality there? You must ask yourself, was the quality there that Sony brought to the table? I say nay.
I say yes. If you look back on all that PlayStation showed, was like these like you had Miles Morales, you had Gran Turismo,
Bug
you had
snacks.
some other Bug Snacks, Ratchet and Clank,
Horizon,
you had
Zero Dawn.
you had like maybe 2 or 3 that were like, okay, cool, but the rest of them were like whatever. But there's a ton in this list where I was like, that looks good, I'd play that, wouldn't play that, but most of these games I'm pumped.
Yeah. So I kind of want to do that here at the beginning of before we get into each of like some of the games. What was kind of everyone's overall, like we just heard that, or I mean JJ wasn't overly excited about some of the stuff that was revealed. I don't know if he wants to share more on that. I think he's frozen, so I don't think it matters. Yeah, he's gone. So how about you, Zech? How was your kind of overall thoughts there on the showcase?
Okay, so Halo Infinite is going to be, first of all, news came out today that actually it supports 2-player local co-op. So,
which is awesome.
Which means that basically solidifies me getting a Xbox Series X now at this point. Like I'm not passing up an opportunity to go back and play more Halo with the woman that I love, my wife. Because man, that was some super fun times. I was impressed with what they're trying to. I'll get more into that game later. I really looking forward to Halo. I was really looking forward to the Medium. Really looking forward to Grounded. And State of Decay 3. I love State of Decay. I love that game so much. It's a great game, so I cannot wait for 3. I found it interesting that they did not announce a price point. They did not announce.
They did exactly what they said they were going to do. They didn't talk about the console at all. It was 100% games. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, they said it, and we didn't believe them, and we should have, because they really meant it. It was just games.
And that's totally fine with me. I mean, at this point, they've kind of said all they needed to say about the console.
They've said a lot, yeah.
They've said so much about the console. There's really probably nothing else really to tell except for the freaking price.
Yeah.
Which I'm flabbergasted. I wonder if it is like a COVID thing. Like, have they not announced it because getting this thing in the hands of people the price might fluctuate depending on shipping and availability and supply. Like, is that going to be a factor in this? In like how they price it? Because I don't know. I can't think of a single. I mean, I'm not like, personally, I don't know pricing. I'm just a guy that works for a grocery store. Like I don't, a grocery company.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, but that was basically my takeaway from it. I remember being super pumped about all the games, and then afterward thinking about it, going like, I don't know anything about the price release date.
Yeah,
they did mention November.
Yeah, they did mention something about another showcase at some point, right? I feel like I remember them saying that like next month or the month after. I forget when, but in the next couple months, there's supposed to be another showcase showing off. I'm sure that one has to be the console one because they already did third-party stuff. This was supposed to be all first-party, but there was some third-party stuff in here as well, right? If I remember right.
There was a ton of first-party and third-party in this.
Yeah, so this was a little both, and then I think I heard in August there's supposed to be one, and I would imagine that's where we hear console stuff specific to Series X and possibly whatever that other SKU is, the Lockhart one there, that cheaper model.
No, not much about that either.
But so my takeaway overall, and we'll get more into it as we talk about some of the games, but right off the bat, Halo didn't quite do it for me right there at the beginning. Like it was one of those things where like it doesn't look bad by any means, but for me it didn't like quite check boxes. And so at first I was just like, oh boy, this is going to be an interesting showcase. And then as it went on, it kind of hit me. And this is kind of like the biggest thing that stood out to me is Xbox 100% solidified with this showcase their direction that they're heading in gaming. And it is very, very different than the direction that PlayStation and Nintendo are going. Like they are plowing their own path, going their own way. And I think a lot of people could possibly read into that as like, hey, you're screwing up. But it's not that they're screwing up. They're just doing things very differently with exactly what they said a couple months back. And exactly what they said a couple months back with when they, with some of the Series X stuff, like, hey, we're not in this for the generations. We're not about the generations. We want to bring everyone in, be able to have everyone in playing these games and enjoying this ecosystem. We are an ecosystem. We are a group, a collection of games that it's on a platform that everyone should have access to through xCloud and all these different things. And I told Zetchel earlier, I was like, this showcase didn't sell me for like even the slightest little tiny bit to go out and buy an Xbox Series X. But it made me really interested in xCloud and in Game Pass, and I'm excited that, you know, even though there wasn't there wasn't really a lot of games in the showcase that interested me, maybe even just like a couple, like 2, 3, handful, like a very small amount out of all of them that they announced. But again, for one more thing, it just like hit me like they are really going for just the huge scatter shot of, we want to cater to everyone's likes. Like, we're not just going to focus on one type of game. Like Sony does single player, like blockbuster campaign stories like extremely well. Right. And having like, you know, hyper super realistic graphics and stuff like that. Like JJ always has a hard time playing any other game if it's not a PlayStation exclusive because he thinks that's bad graphics. I'm like, no, like that's just called art style, art direction. Like every game has a different art. It's not bad graphics. It's just a different art direction. But with Xbox, I'm like, at the end, I was like, I didn't really like a lot of those games. And then it kind of hit me. And after reading some other people's like interpretations, like some people were loving those games. I'm like, oh, well, that's what it's about, is like everyone has something they can love. You're not going to love everything. For me, the PlayStation Showcase, 99% of that, I'm like, I'm in, because it's all stuff catered to me.
And 99% of that is bias.
It's opinion. It's me. It's my opinion. Like
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying.
I love what Sony puts out, and that's why I love my Sony products. And and not to say Xbox is putting out crappy stuff. They're just not putting stuff out that caters to my likes and dislikes. And so it's not bad. That's why I said at the beginning, it's not bad, but it's very obvious to me, like, oh, they're going a very different route where they do want to have something for everyone. And that's cool. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We mention stuff in jest all the time because we're Sony people. And, you know, I just picked up the Xbox recently. I've been very happy with it. It is entirely a different way to look at video games. And so the way that the X Series showcase came out, I wasn't real impressed with a lot of the games, but I recognize that the way that Xbox is doing it is it's a lot more, to coin a Hideo Kojima thing, it's all about connectiveness. Xbox is so much better at multiplayer. This is how I interact and socialize with a lot more first party. Hey, I'm going to jump on with a squad of friends. Whereas PlayStation has traditionally been that this is going to be like, I'm getting home. I just want to veg out and play a single campaign. And a lot of my friends that are Xbox players, and I can't speak for Zech right now, but a lot of my friends that are Xbox players have told me, including a friend today who said he thought the Xbox showcase was great. He's like, I never even play the campaigns on games. I go on there to play with my friends. You know, so I mean, that's a different way that people play games. I think Xbox is really smart in doing it. I wasn't impressed with the games, but I think that it's great knowing we're not going to be able to compete with Sony at the level that Sony plays at with the gamer they're going for. There's all kinds of gamers.
That's the thing. They're all going for different. Yeah, they're all going for like.
Yeah. I kind of think, and I think you kind of see a lot of back to your point about diversity. Like the showcase, if you really look at the games they announced, most of them were just teaser trailers. Like we really don't know any details about any of them, including the big name stuff, especially some of Obsidian's games, namely the Avowed game.
Which Avowed, dude.
Yeah,
that looks really good.
Well, and if you remember, Obsidian is the team that first started Elder Scrolls.
Yes.
Before Bethesda got it. So for them to be like, okay, well, we're gonna go back to our roots and make a new one. I'm pumped. Heck yeah, give me that. And they also put out Fable, a new trailer for Fable, which is another single player. So I mean, yes, they're splitting their portfolio up quite a bit. But I got a feeling that a lot of those single player titles are actually going to be big hits, given the teams that they put behind them. Like Playground Games, I think, is an excellent pick for Fable.
So I'm trying to think. I thought I heard somewhere that Playground Games, didn't they previous. Yeah, they did all the Forza Horizon games. That seems
Yeah.
like an awful big swing to go from like a racing game to.
Have you played Forza Horizon?
No, I haven't. I've played Forza
Okay.
Motorsports, but I've never played the Horizon. I don't think.
It's a totally different. What Forza Horizon does really well is it's like a basically racing open world game. Instead of you have like literally you are a race car driver and your goal is to become the best racer on this island or wherever the heck you're at, and so you race around and you go do quests. You have your main storyline quests, which would be like your big Forza tournaments, and then you got your side quests, which are like your other one-off street races or mountain races. So I mean, really,
So it's basically
really,
Fable, but with cars.
yeah. But except for now, they got to add each of those choices you make in Fable.
Right.
I'm
Change
interested to see
your,
kind of what they do,
your
especially
morality
since
meter or whatever.
who was it? Peter Molyneux, when he first announced Fable, was like, "Oh yeah, you could do all this stuff," and then didn't deliver on any of it. I mean, like most of it. So now, what with technology, especially with the power of the X, like they could probably hit a lot of those promises.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I'm very excited to see. So, but yeah, my thoughts on Halo. I guess we could just go right down the list if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite, 60 FPS, 343 Studios. It's really interesting because I feel like a lot of the feedback that 343 gets is either they love the Halo games or they hate the Halo games. It's like they hate them because they're not Bungie, or they love them because they are a smoother shooter. Like Halo 4, I thought was great. It's probably one of my favorite Halo games. Like their story, 343's ability to tell stories is absolutely great. Halo 5, I loved it. I thought the story was solid. And then the cliffhanger at the end. So now this one takes place a year and a half later. I'm like, wait a second. What happened? So now I got to go back and play Halo 5. Amanda's actually going back and play Halo 5, so I'll just hear the review from her. But overall, my feelings on this new one are very split, especially with like the grappling hook. So from playing like Doom Eternal, and the grappling hook and that, where it's like very fast, very visceral, and you're just like swinging around, you're just like beating the fools. To this grappling hook felt really slow. So maybe it'll be different when I actually play it.
Right.
I don't know.
That was one thing that kind of struck me though in the trailer is like the combat did feel faster than what Halo normally is, but you're right, it's not quite as fast as Doom, but it's definitely faster than what it normally is. So it kind of seemed weird. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like this weird in between. Like it is not fully committing to like frenetic like Doom combat, but it's also definitely quicker and more fast-paced, being able to zip around or like literally grab on the people's chest with a grappling hook and jump at them and stuff like that. Like it's kind of crazy.
I wonder how the physics are in that, because I mean Spartans are huge,
right?
Like you grappling hook a grunt, you're not gonna swing towards the grunt. That grunt is coming to you.
That's what I like. Even in the trailer, he hits an elite, right? And all of a sudden it sucks him towards the elite. I'm like,
that could work.
Elites are big. Elites are big alien dudes, but again,
they're
like
the same size and weight as a Spartan.
But is it the same weight? I was gonna say the armor's pretty heavy. Like his armor's pretty beefy, right? Like
yeah, but I mean, so are Arbor's armor. Like if you look at like the Arbiter standing next to Chief, I can see
pretty beefy.
I can see it.
But yeah, I thought that was an interesting little choice. Now, was there a grappling hook in previous Halo games or no?
There's never been a grappling hook in a Halo game.
Okay, that's what, because I saw a lot of discussion on the grappling hook after the event, but I wasn't sure, having played 4 or 5, I wasn't sure if it was something in those games or not. So I was just like, I don't think it was something introduced in them. I think this is new for this game, but I wasn't sure. But
yeah,
you'll forgive me. Was there any actual gameplay? I know I saw the trailer stuff, but was there?
They showed us like 8 or 9 minutes of gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how did that look compared to the trailers? The trailers look good.
I sent you a link last week. I thought you said you watched it.
I don't listen to none of that stuff you said.
You came in and told me you watched it. You're like, hey, I watched it, blah, blah, blah. And you had some comments about it.
I watched the trailer and you understand, like I was getting my nails done that day. It was
I did not send you a trailer. I only sent you gameplay. So now the truth comes out that you were lying.
But I never lied in my life and been caught. I saw the trailer And when you sent me the thing, I actually thought that it was the trailer that I had already seen, so I didn't watch it.
Right.
So I didn't realize there
right.
was gameplay on the thing that you sent.
Of course, sure.
Yeah.
But it sounded really good, huh? You almost thought that, didn't you?
The
go ahead.
graphic. What did you guys think of the graphics? Because like when I was seeing it, I was like, this looks kind of weird.
So
Can't put my finger on it.
That was my biggest thing. When I first watched it, it was in like whatever the stream was, 1080 crappy. It was really crappy 1080p, and they were having issues with their stream. I don't know if you guys watched it live. I watched it live, and it kept like jittering and freezing. So like halfway through, like every like 15 seconds, it would like freeze for like 5 seconds, and then it would like the audio would keep going with the video would stutter, and it was really frustrating. I kept doing that. So at first I was like, it looked funny, but I'll just chalk it up to it being a bad stream. And I watched it later in like 4K. They released it in 4K. I agree with you. The environments I feel like are pretty crazy. Like the environments look pretty good to an extent. Like even that, there's like some aspects that seem weird and off. But then like character models are very much like, I think I posted one in the Discord of a Brute's face. Like that was from the gameplay trailer. I'm like, oh, this looks a bit like a Brute from Halo 3 on Xbox 360. Like, and that's not good. Like, what's going on here?
I'm the idiot who doesn't know a whole lot, but this is just a thought and a guess. So they're doing 60 FPS. It is other things being lost in the translation of trying to get to that 60 frames per second.
I mean,
think with the power of the Series X, it shouldn't be.
That's what I'm saying. If you're toting that you got the most powerful console ever made, this thing better make your games look like freaking movies, especially when you're going for photoreal.
And so that's the issue is that in comparison to Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima that just came out on PS4, when looking at the Halo Infinite for the X series, it's just not impressive. It doesn't hold up to what we just saw on PS4.
And at least,
my impression.
Yeah, and at least at this point, I know the next day, someone came out from Xbox and said like, hey, it is like a work in progress build. Like we're not done with it. Granted, it's coming out in like 3 or 4 months. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if that statement comes back to bite them when it's 3 or 4 months later and it still doesn't look. It looks better, but maybe not as good as we expect. But another thing that kind of stood out to me too is like they are touting it is an open world game.
Yeah, which like, I'm down.
It's so you think about like so even like Ghost of Tsushima or even like Red Dead, like all these things like look good, but they have their moments where it looks a little chunky.
Ghost of Tsushima especially.
Yeah,
like if you going through playing that game, which I've sunk a ton of time into that game now. My gosh, but you can tell they kind of pulled what the Final Fantasy did, where they sunk all the graphical power into like specific things. So like this one, they sunk all the graphical power into like the environments, but like faces of like peasants and like models are like really weak. Like we're talking like PlayStation 2 weak. Like it's like, what is that? Like the faces just look like blocks. Like but I don't know. So, and that was kind of one of the things that went through my mind. I was like, okay, maybe it's just like an E3 type work in progress build. They're like, okay, well, let's give out this beta version, or we're still working on the main version. This gets the point across. Let's keep going. Yeah. So I don't know.
It's interesting. It's interesting. It's just funny to me though, because most of the time you get the super hyper amazing polished version at E3, and then when it comes out, it's lesser. So for this one to be like possibly
under
lesser,
promise over deliver.
Yeah, it's like, okay, maybe they're onto something. Maybe they did that on purpose. So then when it comes out, you're like, holy crap, like what is this? This is amazing. But yeah, I just know like a few times too, like I actually went back and watched it and went like frame by frame in a couple sections where I was like, that looked funny. Like why? Like what did my brain catch that my eyes didn't see? And when I did like frame by frame, like, oh, there was a really bad pop in. Like that mountain just like pops out of nowhere. Like there's no mountain and then there's a mountain there. Like stuff like that. So, but again, like it's all work in progress. So that's my hope, is that they, at least graphically, like, oh, okay, I'm sure they'll get a lot of that stuff fixed in the next few months. And something else they said, hey, like when this comes out, like no game looks great on like YouTube has all these compressed videos and stuff. Like until you actually can sit down in front of your own 4K TV with a Series X, like you never really know really know what it's going to look like until you see it in person.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, that's Halo.
Yeah. So Halo, I'm not, and so yeah, with that to say, I'm not super stoked about it. Like nothing in that trailer excited me as far as the story goes. Granted, I haven't played 4 or 5, but I don't know. I'm interested in that open world aspects. I was like, okay, that'll be cool. I saw there's like an upgrade system too. Like that was one of the menus on there. I'm like, okay, this could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'll
I have a
definitely check.
feeling that this will be the last game we see with Chief.
I think they said that.
Yeah.
There's a tweet somewhere. I should have had him pulled up because it's going to take too long to look up now. Nibel over on Twitter had really good kind of he linked to a couple IGN articles, but then he had a good breakdown of like, hey, like boom, 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 boom. Here's some stuff about that, like that they announced afterwards, like after the game had come out, which is weird. They didn't talk about it in the thing. 343 views Infinite as a platform that grows over time, so it's going to be almost like a Sea of Thieves or Destiny or something where like the world is changing with like you guys, like the players are changing the world, and like they're going to keep adding story to it. So it's going to be like an ongoing game. Infinite is the last standalone release for the foreseeable future. So if that was going hand in hand, they're just going to do this one release and keep adding story content to it, is what it seems like. Free ray tracing will not be available at launch, which seems like a huge miss. Like they're launching the Series X console with like their big front runner, like this is our big show off title, and it's not going to have ray tracing in it. Seems kind of like a little bit of a miss.
Yeah.
It takes place after Halo 5. Campaign is larger than Halo 4 and Halo 5 combined.
Go figure.
The main villain is Escarum.
Oh, yeah.
Who is a leader of the Banished. And then Infinite, well, here it is. Infinite will conclude the Forerunner saga and set the foundation for the future. So the Forerunner saga, I imagine, has to do with like Master Chief there. So this is probably the last one we ever see of him, I'm thinking.
Which is fine. I mean, I kind of think that like he's kind of had his time, and especially if you follow his storyline from 4 or 5 to now this one, then you can kind of play through 4, beat 4, and you'll see what I mean.
So they don't have all of them on PC Game Pass. That's bummed. I downloaded. They have 1, 2, and 3, and they have, and that's it. Yeah. I think on the Master Chief Collection.
Well, yeah, because 4 never made it to original PC. They had to do all those ports later, so you have to have an Xbox to play.
I was kind of bummed. For some reason, I thought they were.
But
no, I think they're there because there's menu options on the Master Chief Collection. They just want me to pay for it.
No, 4 is not available on PC.
I'll play it, Garrett, and I'll tell you all about it.
Spoilers. 4 is not available on PSD or PC. ODST is not available on PC. And 5, obviously, is not available on PC. So, anyway, Fable, we've already kind of talked about that one. I've never played any of the Fable games. It's one of my
I had a friend
on my gaming record.
I had a friend who was super, super, super into it on the original Xbox. And it was one of those weird things where he was weird about it, where he wouldn't let me play. Like when I came over, he would only let me watch him play. I was like, okay, whatever. So I would just sit on my phone and play games, or like, I think on my little, I didn't even have a phone. I say it's a phone. It was a Microsoft Zune. I love Microsoft Zune. I'd sit and watch videos and, and listen to music and stuff. It wasn't even an iPod. We couldn't afford an iPod. I had a Microsoft Zune.
It's one of those situations where your friend is also somebody you called dad. Your dad wouldn't let you come in and play. He would just make you watch him play. That is the saddest stuff. Bill Morlang, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's horrible, Garrett. That's horrible.
No.
And I thought your dad was a good dad. But...
He was a Canadian. No, this kid was he's a Canadian, so I was staying Canadian.
You can't trust them.
They're not as friendly as they want you to think they are. Not as friendly.
Cool.
But yeah, so I'm interested, but again, I don't have any soft spot for the series.
And there's really nothing to talk about.
Yeah,
there's really nothing to talk about. They're like, hey, surprise, we're doing Fable. I'm like, kind of surprised it kind of leaked.
Yeah, we everyone kind of already knew it was coming because the rumors and leaks and everything. Yeah, of, which is always a bummer when that happens to a big game like that.
Yeah.
Because imagine if like we didn't know about it. I think it would have been a lot more exciting. I wouldn't have necessarily been more excited to play it, but it would have been like such a cool surprise. Like, oh wow, Fable. But yeah, leaks suck.
Yeah, they do. I hate leaks, man. It's like just keep it to yourself. So.
Forza Motorsport. It seems like they're kind of renaming it. They're getting away from the number dealio and just, is this going to be, I don't think they necessarily said this, but it seems like they might be going a similar direction with Halo Infinite. Was this going to be like the new platform where they just update this every year? I don't know. That was my impression. Like the way like they're changing the name up. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed perfect. It's coming to Game Pass. Like, oh, is this going to become the new Forza platform? And every year it'll just be a new like roster update with new cars and new tracks and stuff on Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that would be interesting if they did that. That'd be really cool.
It makes the most sense.
It makes so much sense for sports games and racing games. Like, just do it.
Yeah,
like,
just
stop charging me $60-$70 every year. Just give me an update.
Give me an update. Yeah. Patch it. I mean, like, the only time I can ever really see it being important to do a new game is when you have a new console and the graphical capabilities needs to be greatly enhanced. You know, it'd be like going from like Super Nintendo to N64. You can't, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, you just can't do it. So if it's a sports game and you're going to be having them on here for the next, 10 years or 20 years, however long they plan on having the Xbox Series X be around, then yeah, just make sure that you just patch in, some up-res textures. And
I mean, Fortnite has seasons. Just do a season pass for sports games. So instead of charging full price $60, it's like, oh, it's only like it's like $10 or $20 or whatever.
All you gotta do is update every year. Character models, I guess, depending on the players.
Yeah.
You probably have to, I don't know, that's interesting. Maybe because you'd have to like motion cap new players in there. Like if you really wanted to go for, a 1-to-1 scale, like you can't have just like some guy be Tom Brady. You actually have to get Tom Brady's face.
Right.
I wonder how expensive that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, Forza.
I can do it. I can do it. I'll do the mocap for it because I know a lot of people say that I'm like a short, fat, unattractive version of Tom Brady. So I mean, I'm practically like him.
I see it. I can see that.
Without size, good looks, or money, we're like the same.
Or
person.
A supermodel girlfriend or wife.
Like right. Although I will tell you, she follows me on Twitter. Giselle Bundchen does.
Oh, does she?
I don't even know if I said her name right. I don't even. Don't fact check that. Don't even.
More like Giselle Botchin.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So Forza Motorsports is coming. It's early in development, so it's not coming for a while yet. It's going to run at 4K, 60 frames per second. Ray tracing is coming, and they're planning on creating a dynamic world where everything is connected, from surfaces of cars reflecting off each other, brilliant red paint reflected off the detailed track surfaces, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's going to be crazy on the graphics scale, which is, it's going to be exciting to see. It's going to be exciting to see. Like, yeah, that's like we've had discussion in the past. Like racing games are kind of like, hey, this is our show off for what the systems can do, like graphically, a lot of times, like make the most hyper realistic cars, hyper realistic tracks, weather systems, all that stuff. So I'm excited to see it. It won't be on a Series X, but I'm probably gonna fire it up on my PC and play it in 4K and enjoy it still the same on Game Pass.
Fun. The greatest racing game ever made.
Everwild.
Moving on.
Everwild, developed by Rare. They didn't announce any details about it. They just had a trailer.
Some lame trailer of some.
Yeah, it looks like it could be set in. I saw, Zech kind of editorialized here. It looks like it could be set in the Sea of Thieves universe. I could see that. The art style is kind of similar. It has a weird art style to it. And in the trailer, there was no combat. It was all just like people helping animals and
dancing
and like working in the forest together. I'm like, what is this gameplay? Like,
what kind of freaking game is this?
Like, there's all these like monsters and creatures, but they're nice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It looked like the anti-game. Judging by the trailer, I was like, I don't understand anything about this. This looked like the weirdest teaser trailer. It's like, why not? It would have made more sense if they just would have just announced the title. Like, hey.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't. The only information we got is the name and the art style. Like, we have no idea what gameplay is going to be like.
Yeah.
And like, we think we know what the tone's going to be like. It's obviously going to be very like chill.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like, that's the thing. Like, they could totally come out with the next trailer where like they're like just totally this destroying monsters, like killing them or something. Like, this one is all peaceful and friendly, and the next one they're just like slitting their throats and like kicking them in the rivers and stuff. I don't know.
Crazy.
The next game on the list, Avowed, developed by Obsidian.
These also, just so our users know, all these that we're announcing right off the bat are all Xbox exclusive so far. So I figured,
yes,
yeah,
that's correct.
I put all the show notes together this week. That's why I'm a little more handsy with
because
the notes.
I dropped the ball.
I wouldn't say you dropped the ball. You got priorities. Like, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah,
well, Zech, technically we did talk about how he dropped the ball, and then I said I can do the show notes. And you said, JJ, please don't do the show notes. I'll take care of it. And I said, no, it's really not that big of a deal. And you said, no, Garrett dropped the ball. I'll take care of it. JJ, please, I'm begging you, don't do it.
JJ, remember the part before the show started where I said, don't mention any of what you just said?
Oh, God, I did that. I did it again, didn't I? Oh, my gosh. You know what? Edit that part out, Zech. Oh, my gosh, Garrett, you're the one who edits. Never mind. You know what? Just leave it in. Forget it.
Interesting.
Can we get a t-shirt that just says edit that part out?
That should be a t-shirt. We definitely need a t-shirt that says edit that part out. This is JJ Purdom.
There's a coffee mug that says quote unquote edit that part out. JJ.
Yeah. You might have to.
Oh man, I smell cash coming out. No, just kidding. That's perfect. I totally wear a shirt that says that.
Edit that part out.
That's so good.
All our shirts need to be inside jokes.
100%. I mean, that's what our stupid SPG or SGB for president one is. Like, half the people who listen now probably don't even remember that. That was like last year sometime, or like a year and a half. It was like when we first started, we were doing a whole presidential campaign. It wasn't even like during the actual elections, but we were doing a presidential campaign. Yeah. No one's bought that shirt.
It.
Can't imagine why. Xbox exclusives. So Avowed, also an Xbox exclusive, developed by Obsidian. We mentioned this one earlier. The previous makers of, the older Elder Scrolls games coming back and doing a game that looks pretty much like Elder Scrolls, down to like even like the magic and stuff they're doing. Like he does a spell and he like, in the air, he's like draws out like the little symbol or whatever. So very similar to like what they do in Elder Scrolls, stuff like that. First person RPG. I'm excited because I love me a good. They've also made they made one of the Fallout ones, right? New Vegas. Yeah, they made New Vegas.
So.
Yeah, New Vegas, and I don't know if they made any older Fallout games, but I love New Vegas. I like I said, I haven't played any of the newer. I've said previously in our episodes, I haven't played very many of the newer Elder Scrolls games, but the older ones are some of the ones I've played, like with my buddy on the original Xbox. And so I was like, okay, I was a fan of them then. Like, I'm excited to get into this and see how they go beyond and do better. Because honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of the Outer Worlds. I felt like they played it too safe, where they just basically it felt like just felt like Fallout New Vegas. Like they didn't update a lot. Like even the graphics weren't crazy upgraded, and that think about it, that was a 360 game to Xbox One, PS4 or whatever now, and even just the way they did storytelling and stuff in that. So I'm excited, but I have my reservations about Avowed as well, based off of Outer Worlds. So we'll see. State of Decay 3, Xbox exclusive, developed by Undead Labs. We just got a teaser trailer, which was insane. That was so stinking cool. The wolf is outside of her camp and she just screams at the wolf at the top of her lungs. The wolf runs off, and I love the duality of it, where later she goes and she finds the wolf and the deer. Yeah, the zombie deer is eating the wolf, and then the deer looks at her and screams. It's like, what? Yeah.
Have you played any of the? You probably haven't. Have you played any of the State of Decays?
I haven't, but after watching that trailer, I'm interested.
And I saw that they were on Game Pass 1 and 2, and that trailer made it to where I have to play those games. So
start with 2.
Okay.
Just start with 2. You're not going to be impressed by the graphics.
Okay.
Which is all JJ cares about, so.
That's all I care about, so I won't get very far. No.
Yeah, but I guess if you're playing it on with better, do you have an S or an X?
S.
S? Well, then you should be okay, as long as it's not an original. I mean, the game looks good, it just doesn't look great, but the gameplay in it and the you're basically, you don't play as any character. You just play as like just a group of people, and so you're bouncing around from character to character, and each character has permadeath. So if you lose a character, they're gone forever. And your whole goal, you can level up all your characters. You level up your camp. And the whole point is just to like just survive.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really, it's got like an overarching story. I forgot what. I mean, it really kind of doesn't really matter as much. It's like, hey, clear out all these things.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm looking forward to State of Decay 3. I really hope they give a chance to actually really up-res the graphics on it a little bit more. Just kind of give it that oomph.
I mean, if
Gameplay
I'm sure it'll be nothing like that trailer, but that trailer was beautiful. Like that was insane. Granted, yeah, it was a pre-rendered, like 3D animated trailer, but still, it's like that's the type of thing they were kind of touting that the Series X should be capable of to an extent. So I'm really hoping they start delivering games like that. So this could be the next one.
I don't think the first year of Series X games is really gonna deliver on that.
No,
I mean, but that's like any console.
Launch consoles. That's always how it is. Yeah.
I mean, unless you're like The Order 1886, like that was like I felt like that game was more of a proof of concept for PlayStation. Like, look, yeah, sure, this game is kind of mediocre, but this is how good graphics can look on a console. Like that game, stunning.
Right. Yeah. Let's get
especially
through
the
these...
male genitalia. Wow, some really high definition male genitalia there.
You just said stuff that sounds like that came out of my mouth. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I say
in the game.
Like,
JJ's rubbing off on Zach.
I was like, that's gross.
I know. We've been hanging out. We've been doing shows together too often, Zach, where you're becoming a little more JJ-like, my friend.
You know,
I like
Side note, and we can move on. I feel bad for the animator or the graphic designer that has to actually make that. Like, hey, for this shot here, we want this guy to actually have a penis. So you want me to draw a penis? Yeah, and make sure with the graphic abilities we have, it's got to be extremely detailed.
Here's the model.
Make sure you spend a lot of time on this guy's penis.
Yeah, you need to be looking at a whole lot of photos. You'd hate to go through that guy's Google Images at the time when he's
like, I don't know. This is it. This is what it looks like. Okay, just moving on.
You walk in his office and he has like the big like concept board where he's just like all of his inspiration art. It's just
like a bunch of dick pics. It's like all over.
No. He just has to block
out his windows. If it's a male, all he has to do is look down.
All right, that just happened, ladies and gentlemen. That just happened. The term dick pics came out, and that was Zech saying that. That is not me. So now you're going to have to probably edit that part out. And I don't want you to edit in such a way where it looks like I said it. Nah.
I don't think so. Maybe in JJ's mind. JJ's just scarred because back in the day. I apologize if I offended anybody. No, back in the day, JJ's just upset because back in the day I used to edit stuff out, even if it wasn't bad, just to make him look bad.
I
thought, funny.
Yeah, he actually did, but I thought for sure that he was going to say JJ's just mad because I sent him a bunch of those earlier this week, something like that. Look, if you want to play blue, I can do that. Yeah. He's like, is it supposed to turn this color? So here's the thing: if you want to play blue, I can do that. No, and I can do it more. I
think we should finish off these games. We're an hour in.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep going. We got like a.
We're not even halfway through these games. These last three, I just want to kind of go through quick. I don't know. I guess we.
I want to take a second on Grounded, but
okay. Well, yeah. So As Dusk Falls, it's an action comic book. Looks like it could be interesting. It's an Xbox exclusive coming. Tell me why. Tell me why. Yeah, I wasn't super interested in that. Don't Not Entertainment has a game called Tell Me Why, Xbox exclusive. And it's also, it's a game. The synopsis
okay, have you not seen that one? It's
about the twins.
Comic? Is it similar to Comics Zone from the as far as that art style, like in a comic strip type of atmosphere on Sega Genesis?
No, the As Dusk Falls looks. Go ahead.
It looked like Alex Ross did the artwork for it. Do you know Alex Ross?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
It looks like
I hadn't seen it.
So yeah, I mean, if Alex Ross did a video game where the characters just kind of like move on a page, that's what you got.
Like the background is stationary and like everything's 2D, but it's like the two planes of art and art just kind of sliding and moving around. It makes a very weird, interesting look to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one does.
Yeah. Grounded. This is one Zech wants to touch on real quick. This is by Obsidian. So the same. Wait. Yeah. So this is the same people who did Outer Worlds and who's also doing Avowed, that we talked about a little earlier.
And let's not forget, they've done a lot of other great RPGs too. I think they did the Pillars of Eternity games in that Obsidian. Pretty sure. Anyway, you look that up. Grounded. My son actually walked in the room when I was watching this trailer, and he was like, "Oh, cool! It looks like a really family-friendly, like 4-player co-op game. Like very reminds me of what Fortnite used to be, where hey, we just got to fight off these waves of zombies or whatever the heck it was."
Well, yeah, it almost seemed like a Left 4 Dead type thing, but with bugs.
Yeah, in the backyard, like Honey I Shrunk the Kids style, basically.
Exactly, it's Honey I Shrunk the Kids, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. Which
so it's Fortnite Save the World.
Right, Fortnite Save the World.
Save the World. Yeah, that.
But you're like all a bunch of like shrunk kids in your backyard trying to survive against ants and spiders and stuff.
You can leave your buddies for dead, or you can help each other out.
I love how that was in the trailer. It's like you can leave them to die, or you can help them. I was like, oh, cool, okay. So Obsidian also did Pillars of Eternity. They did Knights of the Old Republic.
That's right. They're a good studio, man. They produce good games.
Alpha Protocol.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. They've done quite a bit of random stuff. Wasteland 2, apparently.
No.
Maybe they did part of it or something helped on it. But yeah, so Grounded didn't do anything for me. I could see the appeal for like if you have a family with like kids who are old enough to play games. Like, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun to jump into something like that. But for me, I was like, this looks really kind of lame and stupid. But again, like back to my point at the beginning of my overview of the show, it's not for me. That's okay. It doesn't look good to me, but there's like families who are out there who are looking for, like, PlayStation doesn't necessarily have all the family friendly, hey, let's sit down and do couch co-op type game. Like Xbox is bringing it. So they're filling a void that's like a gap that needs to be filled. And that's cool that they're doing that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so some of these third-party games, do we want to just go through and talk about the ones that we care about? Because there's a lot here.
Yeah.
And most of them I don't really care about. There's just like, I think there's like 2 here that I care about.
Crossfire X is one that I'm excited about.
Okay.
And the medium.
So Crossfire.
Oh, and Destiny.
Crossfire didn't, I don't know, the trailer, it just seemed like really cheesy and over the top, like the single player trailer that they showed. I was like, this seems like a really cheesy action flick. like they're trying a little too hard, at least to me. I don't know. It seemed, or maybe they're doing it intentionally, but it just seemed like, I don't know, like Sylvester Stallone or like Arnold Schwarzenegger, cheesy, almost action flick.
Garrett, what exactly is wrong with a cheesy action flick?
Yeah.
Nothing. That's the answer you're looking for. Nothing is wrong with a cheesy action flick. Those are the best kind. But
that's just not the type of game I'm looking to play. It's like something like a really...
Well, don't say it like it's a knock against the game. Just say you're not into it.
Yeah. Come on, man.
It looked fun.
That's what I said. That's literally what I said. I said I'm not into, like, it doesn't look good to me.
It was in your tone.
Okay. I'm sorry if I implied
he didn't knock it off. Put Jason Statham in anything and it makes it cool. So, like, cheesy.
Well, Jason Statham's on a whole nother level. That's different.
Maybe Jason Statham needs to be in that Crossfire game.
So, what I like...
I'm Jason Statham, and I make every movie awesome.
That was the worst accent I've ever heard.
That hurts my feelings.
That's new lows. Like
that was a very not nice thing you just did.
Hey, we've got fans, including one of our Patreon supporters that is from the UK, and they're depressed right now. And when they hear that,
it's going to make them smile. It's going to make them smile.
Insulted their culture.
No, Danny Silly Socks, Dan Jam Gent is sitting there just like blown away.
That's how I imagine he talks. Hey, my name's Daniel Silly Socks. It's really hard to talk like that.
No, it's not.
It's really it's hard for me to do that. It's really bad.
Really bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan. I love you. I respect you enough to not try to mimic.
Yeah.
Dan,
I think it sounds cool. That's why I'm copying it, because I think it sounds awesome. I wish I was better at it.
I'm not above mimicking you, Dan. I will totally do that. And I do love you, and I love your Patreon support all the time. But I'm sorry for what you just heard coming out of Garrett.
Okay.
Anyway, Crossfire X looks
Crossfire
alright.
X.
Interesting to note that the multiplayer is going to be free on Game Pass, which I thought was a funny, really interesting move, since that's probably the only game that I can think of that actually does that on Game Pass. What really piqued my interest on this game was that Remedy helped develop it, and Remedy does Control and Alan Wake. And even though I'm not really a fan of the storytelling in Alan Wake, I am a fan of the storytelling in Control, which is ironic since those games cross. But the gameplay in both those games is outstanding. So if the gameplay is there for this Crossfire game, I'm down.
Oh, totally. No, yeah.
Alan Wake
It'll
is
be
another one on
interesting.
my list of Game Pass games to try.
No,
Don't do it, huh? Okay.
Let me paint you a picture. Alan Wake came out. It was a big major title, right? AAA title. Everybody loved it. Getting
Exclusive to Xbox 360.
Big old reviews. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this game. So I bought it used at GameStop. And I was playing it. I beat the game in a week. And by the time I got to the end, I hated the ending so much that I went back and I returned the game and got all my money back. I was like,
what?
Yeah, because at the time,
How is that possible?
if you beat a game within 7 days at GameStop, or not beat a game,
return it.
If you had 7 days to return your game. So theoretically, if you didn't like the game, or you just wanted your money back, or you wanted to basically kind of rent the game and not,
for free.
Yeah, basically play the game for
Borrow,
free.
like a library.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then you can take the game back for free. So I was inside
The
that
good old
7-day
days.
grace period, and I beat the game. And my wife can attest to this. I was livid. I was like, that is the worst ending to a game ever. Like, what the heck was I even playing it for if that was the ending? So, I'm very upset. I'm very bitter. And finding out that Control is in the same universe as Alan Wake has got me a little miffed, because I'm like, dang it. And now I really don't want to like this game. So.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Anywho.
So it'll be interesting to see what it comes to that one then, because like I said, like it didn't quite strike me, at least, as an interesting story. But you're right, like Remedy's on it, like, okay, they make good stuff. I don't know so much about Smilegate, which is the main developers on it, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. So just to throw one out there, go ahead.
Another one that you brought up, and if we could jump to it, I'd like to comment on it. The one that looked really, really great was Medium.
Yeah,
I know you brought that up a couple of minutes ago. That looks amazing. That looks like a lot of fun.
It looks like a really fresh horror game.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'd love to get my eyes on that game, but I think I told Garrett after seeing it, and Garrett, you can attest to this, because I don't remember if I'm just making this up or not. It sounds like something I'd say, but I thought the game looked amazing, but it didn't come across to me as the type of game that is a go out and buy the Xbox X Series X. You got it. I didn't see any games like that, and that was, of all the games that I saw, that was the most impressive. That was the game that I was like the most impressed with. But it wasn't I got to go get a Series X system when it comes out.
But that's mostly because if you really look at what Xbox's strategy is, I mean, we'll get back to the Medium in a second, but I don't think Xbox is trying to sell Series X games as much as they're trying to sell Game Pass.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the whole showcase was just about Game Pass and how awesome Game Pass is. And if they're going to double down on Game Pass, they could probably make a heck of a lot more money selling you a subscription service than they're going to make on selling you a console. Because the subscription service, especially given how many platforms it's going to be available to play it on, PC, phones, tablets, even their own consoles. Like, if think about Netflix, right? Like, how do they make all their money? You can stream movies from pretty much any device you have. So if Xbox is going to make it so you can play games from any device you have, they're going to kill it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
One thing with
I agree. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. One thing with the Game Pass thing that I did want to bring up was at the very beginning of the thing, they did say all these games are going to be on Game Pass. But I started going through some of the game pages on Xbox's actual website, and I don't know if maybe this is a weird marketing thing, or maybe just like they haven't updated their website yet, or what's going on here, or if it's a weird kind of shady thing they're trying to pull, which I doubt, but you never know. They said everything is coming to Xbox Game Pass, but okay, so I'm here. One of the games that I am super interested in, because I'm a nerd apparently, Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. That game looks really awesome because I played Vermintide, Warhammer Vermintide. It's basically Left 4 Dead, but in the Warhammer universe. So this one is in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, Left 4 Dead, but with, those characters. So that looks super awesome to me. Looking here, it says it's coming 2021 for the Xbox Series X and Windows 10 PCs. It doesn't say anything about Xbox One. Now, it will be coming to Game Pass. It does say it's coming to Game Pass, but it just seems weird to me that it doesn't say it's playable on Xbox One. Now, when I go over to Grounded as July 28th, 2020, preview begins, platforms. This one only says Xbox One and Windows 10 PC, and then below it, it does mention Smart Delivery, so it'll be available on Xbox Series X. And I just thought that was weird. On the Medium, same thing. It only says Xbox Series X and Windows 10. It doesn't say anything about Xbox One. So, well, is that something where it's technically on Game Pass, but it's not playable on an Xbox One? Or does that just mean if I want to go out and buy a physical disc copy of it, I'll only be able to buy a physical disc copy on those two consoles? And if I want to play it on Xbox One, I can only play it on Game Pass.
I kind of think it's the latter.
The latter?
Where it'll be available to play on... Well, maybe not, because the examples you listed, Grounded is an Xbox exclusive title, and it comes out next month or something like that?
July, tomorrow it starts in game preview on Game Pass, and then, I think in the next month or so it'll probably go open to everyone.
So, their first party stuff, yes, will be available on everything, but third party, it makes sense for them to only develop for a specific console. So I don't think you're going to be able to get that game on the Xbox One, since the third-party developer would have to make it optimized for the Xbox One and the Series X, where Xbox's whole thing is like, oh yeah, Smart Delivery. It's a proprietary thing. All of our games are going to have it. We encourage other developers to not charge for any upgrades. So yeah, I think you're right. I don't think they're trying to cheat anybody in any way. I just don't think there's any way to enforce a third-party developer from putting the game out on a backwards or a previous.
So if I want to, basically, if I want to play the Medium, so that means I need to either play it on my PC or go out and buy a Series X then, right? Like that's which I don't know. It just seems weird that. I mean, obviously they're technically they're not lying. It is coming to Game Pass, but it seems like a lie by omission. Like they're not saying that technically, yes, it's on Game Pass, but you won't be able to play it if you have an Xbox One. Like, it just seems kind of crappy.
It's not.
If that's the case, again, we don't know. Like, maybe that's not the case, but
we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know if it's a lie by omission, mostly because they've omitted a lot of things, like the price and the release date, and all their marketing has been like, all these games are going to be available on Game Pass, and when Series X comes out, you're going to have over 100 games to play.
I guess, you know what, just something that just hit me though. If they're trying to sell Game Pass Ultimate, which has xCloud, does that mean xCloud will be available on your Xbox One maybe? So you will be able to play on Air Xbox One through xCloud, though, through streaming it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it'll be.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
That'd be cool.
Okay, Xbox, you're good. You're all fine. Yeah. I don't hate you anymore.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Wait, when you said Warhammer, Garrett, was that the little figures that you like paint for hours and hours and hours?
Yeah, they have their own series of games. It's a very popular game.
Oh, yes.
They look like StarCraft, like Terran to me.
Okay. Folks, if you're not watching this on YouTube, he's holding up little figures right now that he lovingly and painstakingly paints with little tiny brushes for hours on end. See, Garrett was homeschooled and also lived in another country for a long time. So don't hold it against him. He's the way he is. He didn't even know about this whole spicy food thing and scary movies and sex that make babies come out when they don't want to. So,
Jeez.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, that's let's see. We talked about, well, I'm excited about Warhammer. We're quite excited about Crossfire. Medium. The most impressive thing about Medium to me, to get back to the game that we were discussing.
Yeah.
The fact that the Series X, like this is a game that's pushing the boundaries of the Series X. It's going to render 2 worlds at the same exact time, and at different parts of the game, you'll either be controlling the real world, this seems like some sort of spiritual world, since hence, she's a medium. And then, or sometimes you're controlling both at the same time. They'll both be up on the screen, one on the left side, one on the right side, and you'll be controlling the same character in both worlds. And like, that's insane. Like, it takes so much graphical power to fully render one world, let alone 2 worlds at the same time. Like, that just seems super impressive to me. And just watching the trailer, like, the graphics are incredible. I don't know, it looks like a really top-notch horror game to me. Like, I'm excited to jump into that on my PC because it's going to be gorgeous and it's going to scare the crap out of me and it's going to be so much fun. Like, I can't wait. I'm really excited for that one.
Me too. That game was definitely one of my highlights for this thing.
Totally.
I had some ideas or some thoughts on it, but I think you covered it all. Yeah, good job.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Where do you go?
Thanks, Zach. Anything else that stood out to you? I know you mentioned Destiny 2. That's coming free to Game Pass now.
Yeah, so here's the deal.
With all the expansions, right? At no extra charge.
First of all, I'm upset. Because I've spent a lot of money on that game. And now it's free.
I mean, it's already free to play everywhere, but now it's just coming to Game Pass with all the expansions, I think, right?
Now it's really free.
Yeah.
But okay.
Just on Xbox, but yeah.
That I really kind of hope you can migrate your profile over. I think they have cross.
Yeah, they have cross save. Yeah, you just have to go to their website because I did that. I did that back when they went cross. They don't have cross play, I don't think, but they have cross save.
Okay, good. Because judging by that trailer, I was like, doggone it, Destiny, you got me again. I'm gonna have to get back into this. So I'm actually pretty excited about Beyond Light coming out. I am, despite the fact that I feel like I wasted a ton of money, I'm super jazzed that it's on Game Pass. So now that I don't have to feel guilty about spending any more money on it, if any of you two nerds want to get on there with me, just do it, because we can start our own 3-man fire team, and we can have our own little stream going. That'd be super fun. But yeah,
I don't know if they have crossplay. That's the thing. If they don't have crossplay, then I don't think it'll work from PC even either too.
Oh, looks like maybe JJ and I are gonna have to play.
Yeah, JJ playing Destiny 2. Oh boy.
Hey, it could happen. I didn't say I'd play it well.
I'll coach you, JJ. I'll make it good.
Yeah.
I'll make it really good.
Now, you coach me. I don't know if it'll make me good, but I'm willing to try.
Just play as a hunter.
Hey.
Play as a hunter, you'll be okay.
I play as a hunter. Wait a second.
Hey, wait a second.
I play as a hunter. I spent so much time in the game. I had a character. I had one of each character, a hunter and a warlock and a titan. I played my warlock the most. And honestly, the gameplay loop in that game is so fun as long as you're playing with friends. That game you can spend so much time in that game. So yeah, that's all I wanted to mention about it, is that it's a game that I thought I was done playing, and then after watching all their stuff for this thing, I was like, fine.
Suck you back in.
I'll play it again. I'll get back into it. So
that's awesome. Cool. And then they announced some older games getting optimized. Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Gears Tactic, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Sea of Thieves all getting Series X optimization there. Like we said at the top, no pricing or release date for the console, no reference to Lockhart, and over 100 games will be playable on the Series X at launch. Well, that's one heck of a lineup at launch. PS4 or PS5 is currently at they've said that there will be backwards compatibility, and they said that there will be, but we have no solid numbers. We know nothing about PS5, but to know that there's over 100 games for Series X, that's pretty dang good.
Caveat.
Yes.
A lot of those games are going to be already playable on the Xbox One because they're Xbox One games that are going to the Xbox Series X.
Like getting optimized, right? Yeah.
However, games like, Gears 5, the other first party stuff that's getting re-optimized for Series X, is incentive for me to be like, okay, yeah, Series X is fine. Because, heck yeah, if I could play an even higher res version or a faster version of Gears 5, yeah, I'm in. Like, I don't know if you watched what their re-optimization of Ori is, but they're cranking it up to like 120 FPS.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so that thing is going to look so fluid, and they're even up-resing the graphics even just a touch, too. So, like, yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, all these old games are going to feel new, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it'll feel like something new to jump into, at least try out for a few hours. So that's exciting. That's really cool. Okay, that's the end of our news. We're an hour and 15 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick Patreon ad and get back to some new releases and what you're playing. Alrighty, guys. So as we said at the top of the show, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. And if you love what we do here, I love hearing us chat about video games and go on and on about what we love and hate about them. Because we all have that love-hate relationship with video games. We all have it. And it's fun to just commiserate with each other and also get excited together. If you want us to be able to keep doing that, keep bringing you fresh podcasts, go over to patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. Support us over there. At just $1 a month, you can get episodes early and ad-free. We have the $5 tier where you can get the show notes. At the $10 tier, you can become a sponsor and you get shout-outs on the show, just like we did at the top. We announced, we shouted out those 5 sponsors we have. I believe it's 5. And then we have our Patreon producer, just like Adrian Holmes, where you can get all those other perks we mentioned, as well as, hey, you have our ear. If you have some cool segment you want to pitch to us, if you have a fun question or topic of the show or whatever it may be, we're your puppets. We do whatever you want us to do. So go over and support us over there. Check it out. We have some cool stuff. As Zech kind of hinted a little bit earlier in the show, we may or may not be have some cool gifts for Patreon supporters at some point. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. There's some stuff in the works. It's been
when you
exciting.
called him a puppet, I just got this horrible impression of Zech sitting on somebody's lap with them like pulling his string and I'm a real boy. I don't know why I saw that. And that just made me giggle.
Because when he said that, I was thinking of Ultron when he's like, there are no strings on me.
Yes. So good. Anytime I see oh wow, I always forget the actor's name. James Spader. We've recently been watching The Office, and we've got those later seasons. Like every time I see him, I just imagine, like, I just think of Ultron. And it's like, he's Ultron. He's not, or whatever his name is, Robert California. He's Ultron. Come on, or Red from Blacklist. One of those two. Such a good show. But yeah, so go support us over at Patreon. We would very, very much love that support, just so that way we can, keep this cool show, keep bringing you guys cool stuff, do cool giveaways, and be able to, buy games then to review on the show. We want to keep bringing you content, and we need your help. And again, we're very thankful for all you who currently support us, and look forward to all you new supporters in the future. I think it's time to get back to the show. Alrighty. So new releases. Zech went crazy wild with this one. So usually I just put in the games that seem interesting to me. Zech just put everything in here. So
yeah, because you know what? I'm all about the fans. And
all
those
about
games
the fans.
might be cool to follow. Like, for example, Carrion. That game I actually downloaded on Game Pass. I want to check it out. I'm not really a fan of being the bad guy, so I'm hoping it's like, you're like a mistreated character.
Okay. I saw it on PC Game Pass. I almost installed it, but yeah.
But I thought the concept looked cool, so I want to check it out. You basically, it's like this big alien thing eating people up.
Okay, cool.
There's
So
a lot
carry
of
on.
there's a lot of good games coming out.
No, there are a lot of these. Honestly, I was like, okay, no, yeah, that's a pretty cool one.
Destroy All Humans.
Pretty good game. So Carry on Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Crisis Remastered. Is that actually out, or did that get delayed? I feel like that
on
got delayed.
Switch. This is a Switch version.
Are you sure?
That's what it said on the website.
That seems like not. Really?
Go ahead, fact check me. Dying Light Hellraid for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. Roki came out on PC. Paper Beast came out for Rift and Vive, which is a VR exclusive. I'm probably going to check that one out. See if it's worth buying. Ageless. Don't know anything about that one, but if it's a game, it's out on Switch and PC. Destroy All Humans came out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC. Is Stadia...
Oh no, we've lost Zech. He was running the show. We lost him. Where was he? He was talking about Stadia. Destroy All Humans. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Stadia, PC. Grounded, Xbox One, and PC. So I believe that's probably the that early access there. Made of Skur, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Other Side, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Pistol Whip for PSVR. Samurai Showdown is Neo Geo Collection, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Oh, I think Zech is back now. Skater XL on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Terrarium on PC, and Blightbound on PC. What were you saying about Stadia? You cut out as you said the word Stadia.
It's going to be gone in a year.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah.
JJ, were you able to hear me the whole time?
I heard you the entire time. It's because
really?
I think because my internet is always bad, so I think I travel along the same bad internet wavelengths as you. So I've only dropped out like 17 times during the podcast tonight. So I could hear you. You know what, Garrett? Maybe it was your internet that went bad right now. Maybe you.
That's surprising because I'm hardlined right into my modem, but you never know, I guess. I doubt it, but also that makes sense. If you guys could hear each other, it must have been me, I guess.
Yeah. I'm hardlined into your modem, buddy.
You're dropping packets.
Wait, no. Yeah.
Dropping the packets. Crisis is in fact out on Switch, the remastered. That's very, very surprising to me. Like that just doesn't make any sense. And let me tell you, it also doesn't look good. It looks actually probably about maybe as good as the PS3 version, maybe.
What do you expect from a game that's like 100 years old now? Like that game came out like what, 15 years ago, maybe 14?
It was like 2006 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it came out around the time like Half-Life 2 and Doom 3 were out.
Something like
a
that.
little bit after that.
It's been a while. Yeah, so that's it for new releases though. Nothing crazy, but there's some cool stuff in there. So let's see what you guys been playing. How about JJ? You go first. I know you've been going first the last few weeks, but now I'm interested what you've been playing on Game Pass. So what you've been playing?
Yeah, so a couple things on PlayStation. I've been playing a little bit of Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's one of the free games this month.
Free
from
games.
The PS
I need to get those before the end of the month.
That game is excellent. What a fun game! I've had some. Okay, so Zech, have you played some of that too?
I beat it. Yeah, I beat the first. I beat Tomb Raider, and then I beat Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I have Shadow of the Tomb Raider on PC. And I'm playing through that one with the ray tracing turned on, and oh my gosh. Wow. Anyway, so keep going. I'm excited. Rise of the Tomb Raider is awesome.
It has been such a great game. Some of the vistas that I've seen so far in the game have just been incredible. And it's going to sound weird because it's so up-resed and stuff from how the old Tomb Raider games are, but it's very nostalgic to how those games were played back in the 90s. I played the original PlayStation games in like 95 and 96 of Tomb Raider 1, Tomb Raider 2 and 3. And so to play this, I just love it. I think it's such a fun game. I can't wait to play Shadow. So as soon as I get done with this one, I'm going to go out and get a copy of Shadow because it actually is a great game. It's going to take me a while because I'm splitting up my time now that I've got the Game Pass going. This week, I tried out a few new games. Tantamount to all of it was trying out Ori and the Blind Forest. What a beautiful game. Absolutely great game that, man, I just feel, I know that Zech talked about these games not long ago, And I'm just kind of blown away that they are as pretty as they are. They're just really gorgeous art style, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So Game Pass is just killing it for me. And when you were talking earlier about the everything going to Game Pass, it makes me believe that like they have their finger on the pulse because you just can't beat it for the
Games as a
money.
service.
You really can't. Yeah.
Yeah, Xbox is 100% going for the whole like to an extent. Maybe it's not the right. I was gonna say quantity over quality, but they do have some quality things in there. But for the most part, I feel like it's just like, hey, let's just dump everything on Game Pass and get everyone in there. And man, like, yeah, they're killing it. With what they're doing, they are killing it. Like they're doing so great.
Yeah. Now, Ori is probably one of the best platformers ever made, and I am so excited that you're able to share in the joy that is Ori
Yeah,
in the Blind Forest.
definitely.
Did you tear up at all in the beginning? Did it tug on your
At the
heartstrings?
very beginning, I did get a little bit emotional, and
Me
so my son was playing with me, and he's 9, and it's great. He's like looks over and he's like, "Are you crying? Like, are you crying?" And I'm like, "There's nothing wrong with tears."
Yeah, dude, that part right there in the beginning was like, oh man, especially as like a parent, you know, like you're like, man, you give up that apple for your kid. It's like, here you go, here you go, it's all you, kid.
Well, I don't know if you've ever been there, but so in the game, yeah, you basically you give up your food for
It's like the first
child.
5 minutes of the game. It's not really a spoiler.
And and so yeah, who hasn't done that? Who hasn't said like, man, we don't. I mean, maybe you guys are rich. I know there's been nights where it's like you just don't have enough food in the house, and you let the kids eat, and maybe you don't have as much, or you just go without. And so it was one of those like touching moments. You put your children first in front of you, as it should be, and
Totally.
and so yeah, so the character dies, and it's like, and it is very sad. It's extremely sad, especially if you have
Jeez.
children. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like I'm losing my man card right now as I go, but not like I had a good grasp on it anyway. You know.
I think you're more of a man, JJ. You're more of a man.
Thank you, Zach.
I mean, basically, since we started this podcast, I feel like that's how I describe every like Sony first party exclusive game that I play. It's just like, it just made me cry. Or even like Final Fantasy, it made me cry. Like everything makes me cry. Like,
I love Sony. Thank you for making me feel terrible, Sony.
Like God of War, and Final Fantasy, and Death Stranding, all these games. Like, I get so much Spider-Man. Like, they just get me. They get me. So yeah, I understand, JJ.
But real quick on Ori, the art style is so amazing. It's such a beautiful game, and it's so neat for me, who grew up loving platformers, to play a platformer that felt really fresh and still really beautiful. And like, I love the art style of it, so I loved platformers growing up, and this made me feel very nostalgic for it, but in a new way, where everything was so pretty and neat, and it wasn't like the same old Super Mario 1 or 2. It was totally updated and just really, really neat. So kudos to Ori, because I can't wait to play the next game too.
Yeah,
because there's another one, a second one that's on there. Ori, I don't know what the title
and
is.
the Will of the Wisps.
Will of the Wisp. Okay.
It's good. I'm like halfway through with the kids. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Zech, what have you been playing?
Still playing Ghost of Tsushima. Still playing Paper Mario, the Origami King. Both games are still stinking amazing. My opinion hasn't changed at all. Ghost of Tsushima, man. Here's the deal. Ghost of Tsushima really didn't. The more I play it, the more I realize it's just another open world game. That's literally it. I mean, like, yeah, no, it approaches it a little bit differently in the sense that like you have less of a HUD basically than any other open world game.
Right.
But it's still really fun and riveting to play through, and just you feel so accomplished when you're able to like free a bunch of people or take on like a huge group of dudes by yourself. And yeah, it's everything that I said last week, just I've probably played maybe close to 8 to 10 hours now, and I'm not even out of Act 1 yet.
Dang.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
yeah, like there's just so much to do, and I got a feeling it's gonna be that game that I'm just gonna be like, yep, no, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna get everything. I'm gonna free all the settlements. I'm gonna learn all the stances. I'm gonna
That's my
max
problem with
everything out.
every open world game. Yeah, I can't stop
Platinum
either.
everything up, huh?
I've never platinumed a game on PlayStation before. So I think for
Me
this one,
neither.
I'm gonna try to go over that platinum. Tell you what, Mr. Morlang, I'll race you to the platinum. I'll race you.
A Ghost?
Yep.
I don't even have the game yet. How's that a fair race?
Better
It's
catch up.
not his fault.
Catch up.
It's not his,
Yeah.
you
Should've
suck,
earned it.
Garrett. Sucks to suck.
I dropped too much money on Warhammer stuff. I don't have enough money to buy Ghost now.
Sounds like excuses to me. Anyway. But yeah,
that's
no,
awesome.
I'm trying to go for it. Paper Mario the Origami King, so last week I told you I only played like an hour and a half of it or a couple hours of it. I'm finally now on my second streamer. I'm like almost there to get it untied. And yeah, man, that game is fantastic.
Yeah,
like,
I'm loving it more and more the more I'm getting into it as well. I'm on my way to the second streamer. Like I just finished the boss battle for the first streamer, and I'm heading over to I believe what I assume I'm going to jump on a lift and head to the next section, but who knows? There's always little curveballs they throw you. But
no, you're right. Yeah. That's exactly it.
And Zech, question to you: your son is 7. Has he been playing the game with you or watching you play? Like, how's that?
Yeah, so he's been watching me play, and he's been playing it himself, and he is crushing it. So
Right on.
he's just got past the tree stump thing, you know.
I love that dance and that song. It's so
what the heck?
I loved it. I loved it so much. I'm like, this is so great. It's so stupid. It's so good.
Yeah. So I like the boss fights in it. I like how they changed it up on the boss fights, where it's basically the puzzle in reverse.
Yeah.
It's like
that.
That's awesome.
I love how, and you have to figure out, like, they don't really give you much of anything. You have to figure out how to counter their attacks. So, like, the colored pencil dude.
Yeah.
I was just like, how the heck do I deal with this last attack? Like, one of his final attacks. And finally, I figured it out. I'm like, oh, duh. Like, I was having the hardest time with it. And finally, like, it just clicks. And you're like, oh, like, you just keep trying things. I kept taking damage. I had to keep grabbing hearts, as I'm going through the circle to stay alive. And finally, I figured it out. I'm like, oh, finally. And then, then I was able to beat him. But it's genius. The boss fights are genius. Because there's been 2 boss fights so far, right? There was a turtle dude and the colored pencil dude.
Yep.
And both just perfect. So fun.
Yeah. Wait till you get to the water elemental one. But they let's just say that everything you learn along the way doesn't go to waste. It's not like one of those games where they like, okay, you learn a new ability and you only use that new ability for like a certain amount of time and then you move on.
Section or something, yeah.
Everything builds on itself. So like the puzzles and everything change depending on the abilities you have, because you're gonna have to learn how to use all of it. And so they get more complicated and more intricate. It's so good. So good.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
I've
been loving
I also started up A Plague Tale Innocence. You guys,
yeah. I've heard of it. I haven't played it, but I just heard there's lots of rats.
There's like a gajillion rats, from what I hear. I haven't made it to any of them yet. You know why? Because the game hardcore glitched on me, like right in the beginning. Like, oh, no. I'm like working my way through, and first the audio kept on like dropping, like the sound.
Oh, weird.
And I'm like, it's not my, like everything else in the game is going, just like the music track just kept on like dropping off. So you go through, and all of a sudden the music track just dropped, gone. And it goes back. I'm like, that's so weird. What the heck? Anyway, if I get this part where you're like following your mom to like this courtyard, and you need to get through a door, and I died right before I got to the door, and now it like won't let me go through. So I'm like, okay, I'll reload from last checkpoint. It reloads me right where it glitched. I'm like, there's no way I am restarting this entire game, so I'm done. Beautiful game. Too bad I can't finish it. So sorry about it. Like
What were you playing it on?
PC.
That's your problem.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Just kidding.
That's not my problem.
That's I don't know. That's so frustrating. Like, especially because that's an older game too. Because like that should be something like if there's any bugs, they should be patched out by now.
Oh,
like it's been out at least a year if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So things should be easily fixed on that one. So that's
That's what
kinda
happened to me
strange.
playing Star Wars Fallen Order. Was
Yeah.
there was a bad glitch and I couldn't get anywhere, so I
Yeah.
basically had to hand the game back over to Garrett because I was not willing to go play it again. It
Yeah,
just
no way.
wasn't going to
Yeah.
happen.
Well, yeah, you played that right at launch, and that was notorious for like within the first week they had like multiple major updates, and still was not fixed until like a couple months later. So yeah.
And it's actually a really lovely game. It's really, the graphics are incredible, and I think we talked about trying to get that into Zech's hands to get him to play a little bit of it, because you're a Star Wars fan, aren't you, Zech?
Yeah, I am. I'll play it eventually. I'm waiting for the holidays to buy it, just because I'm pretty sure it's going to go on like a super steep sale at that time, and I'll swoop on it then.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. After once games hit like a year old, I'm sure like Black Friday or something will be like in the $30 bin or something.
Yeah.
Um,
It's already on sale for like $30 now, but I'm waiting for it to get like that $15 mark, 20 to 15.
Nice.
15, 20.
Yeah, there you go.
So, anyway, that's what I've been playing.
Cool. I've been playing Paper Mario as well. I kind of already shared what my thoughts are. I'm still loving it more than I did even last week. The combat, again, still suck at it, puzzles and stuff, but if I just play it and just focus on the game, I'm fine. Like as long as I don't have any other distractions, I'm getting through it just fine. I haven't actually like died yet, so that's good. I also jumped in randomly to Cuphead. I don't know what possessed me. I was just like, hey, I have my 8-bit dough 30N plus whatever my Switch controller I normally use, sitting here on my desk in my office. I'm like, I'm gonna hook up to my computer and play some Cuphead, and I beat. I'm still in the first world, but I just played through the one with where you're in the plane. The first time you're in a plane, and I forget what her name is, but she like turns into all the different star constellations and stuff like that. And yeah, I beat her. I was like, oh, okay, that felt really good. And I played the next one. I was like getting stomped by this flower. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I need to take a break. I could beat one boss, get stomped by another. I'll play it another 6 months. Like, I'm good. I wasn't in a mood to like rip my hair out over that. And so what I ended up doing is I shut it down and jumped into Magic the Gathering Arena. Shout out to Kajoma out there. I know he's probably like losing his mind right now. I actually sent him a friend request into Magic the Gathering Arena. He wants to play me. I don't know if I want to, because he's like mythic level. I don't even know what that means, but in ranked play, in ranked play, he's like one of the top players or whatever. And I'm like, oh, cool. You want to play against me? I've played like 5 games of Magic the Gathering in my entire life, and you want to play against me? Okay, cool. That sounds like fun. But we'll see. I'll try it once and see what happens. But no, I was just playing through the tutorial, because they've done a lot of updates since I last played. It's been a few months, and they've added, I feel like every time I play, I beat the tutorial, and then the next time I log in, they do an update and there's more tutorials. I'm like, okay. I mean, part of that too is they keep coming out with a new series. Every 4 months they come out with a new, or every 3 or 4 months they come out with the next series of cards or whatever. And so every time they do that, they update their tutorial. So basically every time I play, I have 0 cards that are, worth anything in standard. And so I have to go play through the tutorial to unlock a bunch of cards for the current standard, allowed cards in game kind of thing. So I was just playing through that, and I was just having a blast. I'm like, this is so much fun. It's so relaxing. Like I mentioned, but I think before the show to you guys, like I've been getting into painting the Warhammer guys more. I know it's super nerdy, but it's just been so relaxing. I haven't really talked about much on the show, but I've had really bad anxiety issues the last couple of months, like having panic attacks, and like to the point where I like can't sleep, or it wakes me up, or like throwing up. Like it's been kind of bad the last few months.
Also, drinking Bang energy drinks right before doing a podcast will also do that to you.
Oh yeah, okay. That's just like launching through the ceiling. So I've really been struggling with a lot of anxiety, to the point like crippling anxiety, and so like just to sit and paint, and then like has been super helpful. And then like picking up like Magic the Gathering, I'm like, this is like the most chill thing ever, because it's just playing some cards. Like there's nothing super stressful about it. It's like, I don't know, like you can get frustrated, but I don't know. It was just a nice change of pace. And honestly, I feel bad, because that's why I haven't beat Last of Us Part 2, is because it's come out at a time in my life where like mentally, like I played through like, I think maybe like the first half of the game, and I'm like, I don't know if I can take any more of this for a while. Like I need to give it a few months, like for my own sanity kind of thing. So that's why I've stepped away from Last of Us Part 2. So sorry I haven't beat it, because I know JJ was really wanting me to beat it. A lot of other people like, you got to beat it, but
You should get
honestly,
Ghost of
like,
Tsushima. You should get Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah, I might need to. But yeah, honestly, I've been leaning more into like hardly even playing video games. Like Paper Mario is kind of like the main thing I've been touching. But honestly, I just played for a few hours. Like I just, video games are stressful sometimes, and it's nice just to do something that, hey, it doesn't matter if I mess up this paint stroke. I just paint over it. I'm good to go.
That's cool.
But yeah. Cool. Well, we do have a question of the show. We are an hour and 35 minutes. Do we want to touch on this, or do we want to save it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Because it's very topical. Came out like today.
Okay.
Or yesterday.
Let's do it. Here is the question of the show, and this comes from our very own Zech Keenan. So I don't know. Do you want to read it? Do you want to be the one to introduce us to this?
How do you know it was me?
Well, because you wrote the show notes and you didn't attribute it to anyone else, so I'm just assuming there. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're right. It was me.
Yeah.
So I was going through Twitter, and so one of the video game journalists I follow on there, his name's GeneCast. As a Twitter handle, I don't know his actual name. I assume it's Gene. But anyway, retweeted.
Good guess.
Joe Rogan, whom you guys might be familiar with. He's a fairly popular podcaster. I actually like his podcast. He's a pretty down-to-earth guy. I agree with a lot of his opinions on things. Maybe not all of his opinions, but most. And he made a comment recently saying that video games are, to summarize, a waste of time compared to, like, not really anything, just really just that, you sit there and, nothing happens. He said they're really, really fun, and that's a problem because you sit there and you don't do anything.
And his comparison too, because I watched the clip and I read through the article here, his comparison was to, like, right here, comparing games to martial arts. This is his exact quote. You could be doing something exciting and fun, or you could just be playing bleeping video games. 3 years later, you could be that same. Oh, that's not even the part I want to read. But he compares it to like, hey,
MMA.
I could go out and get really good at martial arts and, make a bunch of money in competitions. And then eventually, like, I could turn around and start up a school where I teach martial arts, and I could make this much money per student, and I could make a living. I could actually make a living off of it.
Right.
And, I can turn that into a career, and I can have a nice car and a nice family and a nice, all this stuff. He's like, you have video games, you play it, you experience it, it's done. And then you just wait till next year for the next game, and you don't get, like, his thought is that it's just a waste of time because you play it and it's done and that's it. And, like, you don't get anything from it. You get nothing from it. Like, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah. So my question to you guys is, what are your sentiments on his opinion here? Are video games a waste of time?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have an interesting opinion, because if you would have asked me 4 or 5 years ago what my opinion is, it would have been Joe Rogan's answer to a T. I would have said this is a huge waste of time, because I did say that. I said that to several people, my nephews, my little brother, that, my brother in his 30s playing video games, and my nephews in their mid-20s playing video games. It didn't make sense to me. Why are you spending 4?
I feel like this answer would have been really good.
I know. I think he was just about to say something like super awesome, and then he cuts out. So I'm going to jump in real quick here, I guess. So I think I don't necessarily fall on one side or the other. I think he's right and wrong. Like, he's right and wrong. It depends on the type of gamer you are.
Yep.
If you are the one he describes, which there are people like that, then yeah, 100% gaming is a waste of time. Like, people lose their entire lives playing video games.
Yep.
And they lose their jobs, and they lose their wives and girlfriends and families. And yeah, of course, it's a total waste of time. But on the other side, like, it's a thing that you can turn it like I think his main thing, like when he brought up the martial arts stuff, is like making a career and making a living and making it like work for you. And it's like video games can do that too. Like, and that's what's interesting in the article. He got some backlash from Ninja. Joe doesn't really understand the full context of what the gaming community is and how many different avenues you can be successful in gaming. Right. And then even Dr. Lupo came out and said, listening to this podcast is a waste of time. Generalized bad take is bad. Anything can be harmful in excess, which and that's what I was wanted to get to is like, martial arts can be bad in excess if that's all I do. And yeah, maybe I'm getting better, but maybe I don't have the ambition to start a school and I'm just wasting all my time doing that. Like all the bad things that can happen to me playing video games 24/7 can happen if I'm just grossly addicted to, my jiu-jitsu gym or something like that as well. Like anything in excess is bad. And so, that's where I think he's wrong. Like, like he's right, but it also applies to the very thing that he said was a good thing and is always a good thing kind of thing.
100%.
So
I don't. Go ahead, JJ. You're still cutting out.
Yeah, you're still cutting out really bad. We can't see you and we can't hear you.
Give it a second. It'll buffer in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just want to say that like, he's right and he's wrong, and I feel like a lot of people in the gaming community kind of are a little too enraged about this. Personally, like I think that's to offer a different side of the answer is that like a lot of people are like really kind of like burning Joe because like they feel superior to him, I guess, because they make a living off of playing video games and he doesn't understand what he's talking about. He's a podcaster. He's pundit. He's just giving his opinion on stuff. You can't get too mad at him. Chill. You know what I mean?
That's one of those things where like, he's completely in his right to give his opinion. And if that's what he believes, then that's what he believes. And I think there's a right way to inform someone. Like maybe if a friend of his was like, hey dude, that's not cool or whatever. And like, maybe if someone actually went to him and in that kind of way, maybe next episode he'd be like, hey, you know what, I was wrong, I didn't realize about this side. But yeah, like you're getting at like when people are tearing into him, like that's not helpful at all either.
It's not productive in any way. That's also a waste of time. So and Joe seems like a pretty reasonable guy too. I'm pretty sure like if you actually took a second and be like, okay Joe, but how do you explain people like Ninja who are literally making millions of dollars? I mean,
millions and millions.
I don't think Joe was actually saying that all video games are wasting time. I think if you really listen to his podcast and really kind of know who he is and what he's actually saying, you'd know that he's really just talking to the people that are just like legit waste their time. Like people that aren't going anywhere. The regular average Joe, pun intended, pun not intended, is, they're people like me. Like if I was a dad, or I am a dad, and all I did was not work and just play video games all day, it's a waste of time. If all I did was not spend time with my kids, if I didn't have my priorities straight, then video games are a waste of time. Anything in moderation is a chance to decompress. TV shows, movies, any video games are just like any other form of entertainment.
Martial arts.
Yeah, any other form of entertainment or hobby can be a waste of time if you don't do it in moderation. So anyway, it was a very interesting week. It just kind of was a bummer just to kind of see a lot of people that I kind of respected. I mean, even Corey Barlog was kind of jumping in on it and just being like, come on, man. I mean, he didn't really, I don't think Corey said anything, but he liked a few tweets that were saying that this podcast is a waste of time. It's like, but Corey's also like a pretty hard liberal. So I can see why he probably is already predispositioned to not like Joe Rogan in the first place. This is just to, add fuel to the fire. So anyway, I just wanted to.
What was some of your thoughts, Jay? You were in the middle of saying something, so if you want to continue.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with my internet. I guess you got to pay the bills sometimes, right? So what I was going to say, or not, what I was going to say was it's an entertainment medium. So I'm basically reiterating the exact same thing that Zech was saying. A podcast, I use podcast every day as entertainment. And that's all it is. It's just using it as an entertainment medium. So I think that you can say like his show is a waste of time, and I'm not trying to be trite saying that because I listen to Joe Rogan's show and I actually like it quite a bit. I prefer Adam Carolla, which is on the same of it. The giant. Just something.
Oh, your audio's cutting out, JJ.
Dang, he's got some
Yeah,
really good things to
sorry.
say right now too.
You have some good stuff to say, but it's just like your audio's cutting in and out. I'm sorry.
It'll never happen again. I'll never come up with. Of course.
Dang it.
Anyway.
We're finally getting wisdom from JJ, and God's like, nope.
Well, we don't
Shut
want you
that
to
down.
take anything I say too serious. I think
It's not on brand.
I think we're probably going to have to cut the show right here. It's not going to get any.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
wrap it.
Alrighty, guys. Well, sorry you didn't get to hear those deep insights from JJ, but thank you so much for listening this week. Listen to our kind of rundown of our thoughts on the showcase and some of the games in it. If you want to support us and what we're doing, go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Support us over there. You can go to supergamerboys.com/store and buy some sweet merch over there. We got t-shirts, mugs, stickers, phone cases, whatever you're looking for. We got them over there with our logo, with our faces, a lot of fun stuff. You can rate, review us. Remember, over on your favorite podcast app of choice. Wow, I can't talk straight at all. Whew. Podcast app of choice. There we go. Or if you're on YouTube, remember to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. That way you can see when our new episodes come out. You can find us during the week, supergamerboys.com, at supergamerboys on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/supergamerboys. I'm over on Twitter at gmorlang. JJ is on Twitter at
JJ Purdom.
JJ Purdom. That's what he meant to say. You can't hear him, but he said at JJ Purdom. And then Zech is over on Twitter at
Nerd Dad Zech.
Nerd Dad Zech. Thank you so much to Star Andrews for our logo. You can check her out on Instagram at Ground Floor Graphics and Facebook.com/Ground Floor Graphics. And that is the end of the show. Is JJ going to be able to do his little spiel here at the end, or am I going to have to wing it? Or Zech? Huh? JJ? No. Yeah, and he's gone. Alrighty. Well, on behalf of Zech and JJ, I'm Garrett. And we are the Super Gamer Boys. I'm trying to remember everything he says. And we will catch you on the flippity flop.
Later, skaters.
What a perfect way to end the show with JJ's video just totally bugging out, his audio glitching.
I was going back and forth between mobile data and Wi-Fi